Ranger Lake, Algoma Headwaters Lost Canoe Route. 120 kilometers over 8 days, more than 40 portages, mostly unmaintained. We'd been studying this route for years, given inspiration by author and adventurer Kevin Callan's account of this route in print.
We craved the challenge of this seldom traveled, mostly unmaintained canoe route and wanted to experience it for ourselves.
Months of planning, many maps, satellite images, first-hand accounts, and trip notes from other paddlers all built the excitement for what was to be our most ambitious canoe trip to date.
We headed out on this adventure full of excitement and wonder, from the old-growth pine trees on Megisan Lake to the high water levels on the West Aubinadong and Nushatogaini rivers. We were enveloped in solitude and the ever-present rushing waters of spring.
We hope you enjoy this humble account of our journey through a lost canoe route and, perhaps, even get out there and try it for yourself. Alright, hey everybody, it's Jay and Sherry. So, we had an interesting start to the day and we will tell you about that later. But we're just here starting our Ranger Lake Loop trip, inspired by Kevin Callan. And day one, afternoon number one, and we're here at the beginning of Samo Lake, little rapids that go down into Ranger Lake. We just met a group of fellas from northern Michigan who just recently bought the lodge over there, and they told us about a nice campsite. We weren't planning on camping on Samo Lake, but we got a bit of a slow start this morning. And so they told us about a really nice campsite up here on an island that we're considering because there's supposed to be a thunderstorm coming. So we're going to get in the canoe and paddle a couple of kilometers and check out the campsite and the weather and see what we're all about. Howdy friends. Okay, so we did find a campsite. There's Cher cleaning it up. A little bit of housekeeping. She loves it. So yeah, this is our little slice of heaven for the evening. The wind is really starting to whip up. We've got, as you can see, I'm pointing at a screen. You guys can't see my finger, so I'm kind of new to this. Sorry. Anyway, the wind's coming up, but we've got a nice breezy spot here, and our tent pad is flat. So thanks for the advice, Kevin from Michigan, Traverse City, Iron Mountain, I don't remember. Anyway, they were super sweet and told us about this campsite, and we're going to now set up the campsite. It is a joint effort, and Cher and I are like a well-oiled machine where she does all the stuff and I crack open the campsite wine.
Dead standing striped maple, so this will be our campfire wood tonight.
It was not even standing. A dirty little beaver took it down. You can tell the culprit right there, that's his fingerprints. For no reason. What'd you do it for, beaver? But it's going to benefit us quite a bit because striped maple is one of the hardest. Well, guys, day one is in the books. It was a day to remember, maybe to forget. Not a lot of travel, but a lot of interesting times. Met some folks, and the blustery day that was supposed to be a thunderstorm turned into one of the most gorgeous sunsets you'll ever see. And yeah, so we have a pretty big day tomorrow, starting early with a 3-kilometer portage slash, we don't know, maybe paddling on a road. We're not even sure yet. We'll see first thing tomorrow. But yeah, we're gonna have a beautiful calm. You can see the lake is like glass, and it's the golden hour right now. It's just about 8:45, and yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of journaling, read, and then probably pass out in the tent, and we will see you in the morning. Morning, sunshine.
Morning.
How did you sleep?
Not awesome, but not too bad.
Yeah,
Loons were yelling.
Yeah, me too. Our neighbors were a bit rambunctious last night. We have probably 4 or 5 or 6, who knows, loons, various spots around the lake, and they were pretty loud last night. It was just as cute as it was annoying. But yeah, day one, night one in the books, and we're here on coffee number 2, getting working up our courage in order to make that big portage first thing this morning. We were up at about 6, and it's about 7 now. I'm going to slowly pack up. It's kind of drizzling on and off, and we're going to make the trek up to the logging road slash portage trail and see what the day has in store for us. We will keep you posted. Okay, we've doused the fire. We packed everything up. We're about to head out. The sun has started to shine. So despite the morning rain and fog and all the junk, we are warm and ready to paddle for a very short while until we have to carry all of the things that we own on our backs for 3 kilometers or more. So that should be fun. And there's our noisy neighbors. See you. So yeah, this is the end of Samo. There's a swampy little section here. There's a whole bunch of mergansers in there that Sherry, you'll see she got some video of before we got hung up on a deadhead and scared them away. And up in that tree, right there, a bald eagle. Sherry also captured that. You'll see in another shot. He went and settled in that tree. There's a nice little waterfall down here at the end of Samo. And the sun is shining again. And all is right in the world. Hey, babe.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We believe that the trail is that way. So that's the way we're going to go. Okay, love you. Bye. Yeah, this is fun. A guy named Jim Baird, who's an adventurer and YouTuber extraordinaire. He says there's type 1 fun, type 2 fun. Type 1 fun you enjoy to the max when you're in the middle of it. Type 2 fun you enjoy most after the fact. You don't really enjoy it while you're doing it, but when you look back on it, you're like, man, that was awesome. Or I was awesome for doing that. I think we're having type 2 fun right now, eh, babe? Got a thumbs up. Quick update. So we just walked up, like, kind of through and around that, which isn't so bad because this swamp over here looks like it could get pretty high in the early spring, which is when we're here. And I think this is the section that John from Lost Lakes had to paddle through on his trek through here 4 or 5 years ago. So if that is the muckiest we're going to see, we're counting our lucky stars. But we still have a fair bit of road left. I think on the conservative side, we're probably about a third of the way through, a kilometer through. Neither one of us are dead yet. And I still feel strong. How do you feel, babe?
Good. Weather's awesome.
Weather's gorgeous. So even if portaging sucks, at least the weather's good. All right, so it turns out that we were not at that spot where we might need to paddle on the road. We've actually come to that spot now. We're almost there. We're probably only a couple hundred meters from the end of the portage, but we've come to this. This is actually a road, believe it or not. And this is a pair of people who are about to get their feet wet again. But we're loving it. We're loving it. Like, the weather is gorgeous, so we're going to be able to dry off when we're done. We're just going to have a quick snack here, and then we're going to brave the road, the Aqua Road, or whatever we call it. Anyway, we're doing all right. We're still kicking. Okay, we made it here to Island Lake. That last bit of the portage really sapped me. I don't know about Cher. She's a little tougher than I am, but I just about passed out on the bottom half of that sucker. And there was some boot-sucking mud there that just about took the bottom half of my darn leg. But it didn't. I made it away unscathed. We saw a little hummingbird with a green head greeted us here when we got here. But this is Island Lake. Here's the put-in. Got to just load in some of our gear. We got about maybe 15 minutes of paddling up into Mystery Lake, well, to the portage. So we got more portages today than we can shake a stick at. But I'll shake my fist at them maybe. And we'll do them. Hey, Cher?
Yeah.
Can't wait. So we couldn't find the takeout for the life of us, and then there was this yellow tape in this tiny cedar tree over on the left side of this little bay where the mergansers were. So just if you're looking, it's right here where this beautiful yellow tape, and there's a little triangle there. And we're on our way into Mystery Lake, so mystery solved. Okay, so we're about halfway between Island Lake and Mystery Lake. We did the single carry on the uphill bits, and decided probably should have double carried it. So halfway point at the top of the hill, I left old Brutus here. Cher's got her stuff here. We're just having a little break. I brought the canoe down to Mystery Lake, sight for sore eyes. But we lost off of the canoe one of the yellow lining ropes, and we're hoping, so Cher went back to check while I brought the canoe ahead. And I'll tell you, bringing just the canoe was like taking a stroll in the park. It's quite a bit easier than what I've been doing to myself. So I've just got to pace myself. We've got like at least 25, 30 more portages on this trip. So I better pace myself. I know I've been doing a lot of squats for this reason, but maybe not enough to warrant this, especially on a portage like this. This one might be, I thought a few hundred. I think it's probably more like 7, something like that, 700. So yeah, why not double carry it? It's a beautiful day for a walk, so we're going to finish it as a double carry and really thank our stars that we did that. Hope you guys are doing well. There's still very, very few bugs. You see one there just flying around, but they're not biting yet, except for at dusk. At dusk, I got kind of hammered last night by mosquitoes. But again, we do this to ourselves, friends. We're having fun. We're here at the portage out of Mystery Lake into Gong Lake, and we can't tell you how beautiful of a day it is today. We're so lucky for this. There's a little beaver subdivision here, and this is Mystery Lake, north end. Down that way is Anvil Lake, I believe. This is a little Christmas tree. And yeah, so we're headed that way. And we're going to single carry or double carry because we've got a lot of days left. So I'm going to just carry the pack and then I'm going to come back for the canoe. And it feels like I'm basically taking a break when I do that. So I'm going to do that. And then, yeah, we'll see you on Gong Lake, hopefully with a tailwind. Up our lake travel for the next couple of days, well, for the next few days most likely. Next bit we have the West Aubinadong River upstream in high water, travel for at least 2, maybe 3 days, and believe it or not, we're looking forward to it. So we're just coming up to the end of Gong River, or Gong Lake, and going into Gong Creek. Hopefully the portage is pretty easy, and then the river travel becomes our story, and hopefully the wind no longer plays a factor, although it's played a factor to our benefit today. What with that, well, it's really mild now, but just a little while ago it was pretty raging. So we got across Gong in like a half an hour, and here we go. All right. Finishing up the portage around the falls on Gong Creek, and whoa, that's a doozy. Really treacherous and a lot of big blowdown. So that was interesting, to say the least. And it's not really well marked. So if it wasn't for Cher, old colorblind Jay would have just been knocking around the bush with a 100-pound pack on his back for a couple of days. So yeah, I got to go back and get the canoe, but that was terribly taxing. But we're done it. Hey babe, it's behind us, thank goodness. Well, mostly. And the creek is beautiful, actually. Looks like it's pushing a fair amount of water. And then we're at the point where there's power lines, if you can see them over there. So we're almost at the confluence where this creek meets the West Aubinadong. And from there, we're a very short paddle upstream to the confluence of the West Aubinadong and the Nushatogaini. And then we go north and find camp probably soon, because I'm tired. Hello from day 2 camp. Sherry wanted me to call it the Love Den, so we're calling it the Love Den. This campsite, we've got our tarp drying from this morning over there. We've got this beautiful little fire pit I remade, but the people who were here last, probably a couple of years ago, because the fire pit was completely grown over, full of pine cones. I had to dig it all out and rebuild. But they had left a little pile of wood and a couple of logs. See, they were very smart about it. When they left these logs here, they had them all bucked up and ready to go. And they didn't lay them on the ground so they rotted. They stuck them in the air. So they were still good. I cut a few chunks off and you see that there. But we're ready to go for a fire. This is our tickle trunk of stuff where we just kind of threw everything here when we got in, because it was an exhausting afternoon, which I'll tell you about, or we will tell you about. Here's the tent pad. It's nice and soft, overlooking the river. The river is really, really high and really, really fast, therefore. This is our fly also drying out from this morning. Sherry's puffy jacket. I think Sherry is in the bush hunting for bears. I believe if you look closely, you can see her there. She's tracking one now. I kind of hope she gets one. We've got our fresh water bag, clean and hanging. And here's old Swifty. So just to give you an idea of how crazy this is, this was our takeout right here. And this it looks a little better than it did when we first got here. There's no way to access this tent site because of the fact that the water is at least 2, probably more like 3 feet higher than normal, or say that than in summer. So yeah, we had a time, and Cher and I will tell you together about it, but we are safe and we are sound, and we are in camp, and it's about 5 o'clock on day 2, Sunday. Tonight, I mean, the skies are beautifully clear. You can see it's just absolutely gorgeous. Couldn't have asked for a better day. And tonight is supposed to be the blood moon. It's a full moon, and there's a full lunar eclipse. And I don't know if we've got it in us to watch that, to stay up, because I think it starts at 9:30 and it peaks at midnight. I can guarantee you we're not going to see the midnight peak, but we might see a smidgen of it because we've got quite a bit of sky access. And I do know that the moon from yesterday, it actually comes up in the east, which is like quite a bit of cover there, but we'll see. All right, we'll be back at you once we get a little bit of food in our bellies, some more water in our stomachs, and maybe we stash into that wine a little bit to lighten the load for tomorrow. Hey, Cher.
Hi.
So what do we got cooking on the camper stove here?
We have chicken Thai vegetable curry.
That is being rehydrated. We made this special at home, right from scritchety scratch. Even the Thai curry spice, eh? And it's just rehydrating now. We've got it on sort of indirect heat. Just put it on. How was the day today, Cher? It was interesting, eh?
It was good. It was, the weather was awesome. We had tailwinds, a lot of tough portages, but we made it through, and then ended the day with a heavy upcurrent paddle and found a campsite that's 2 feet underwater, or the water's at least 2 feet high. No, it's good. We did well today.
Yeah, I got video of us making that transition from Gong Creek into the Aubinadong, and I was like, okay, let's see how this goes, because we saw the water was moving quick, and it was moving fast. But as soon as we got out of where the Nushatogaini and the Aubinadong were coming, it slowed a little bit, at least enough where our eyes weren't going out of our heads, right?
Yeah,
so
it was good. It was sunny, no mishaps.
No, exactly. So that's all we can ask for. How long do you think it was that we were paddling that upstream hard paddle? Was that maybe a half hour, 40 minutes?
Yeah, at least a
45?
half hour.
45 minutes maybe. So that's what our next few days looks like. So
yeah, we might not get as far.
Yeah, we're going to have to plan our days, and we're going to do our stretches in the morning for sure. Hey friends, here we are in the Love Den. Just finished dinner and cleaning up, and now we're gonna have some sleepy time tea. It is not yet 9 p.m. and the moon is not yet out. So I'm not sure of our chances of seeing the blood moon tonight. What do you think, Cher?
No.
Slim to none. Slim to none.
We had a big day.
We did have a big day. So we have big plans for tomorrow. For anybody who knows the route, we have about 15 or so kilometers of upriver travel on the West Aubinadong to get to Megisan Lake. And then our plan is to reward ourselves with a day off and just to stay 2 nights at Megisan Lake and explore and wash ourselves in our clothes and just relax, if we can make it to Megisan tomorrow. So it's going to be a slog. That is probably 7 or 8 hours at 2 kilometers an hour, including portages. So it's ambitious, but we've done stuff that ambitious before, right, babe?
We're ambitious.
We are we have ambitions, just different from others. Ours is paddle related. So yeah, this is sunset on the West Aubinadong. Great, that is sunset on the West Aubinadong. And that is Sherry in the Love Den, as she likes to call it. And this is our fire with the sleepy time tea just steeping beside it. And we're about to turn in for the evening, gang. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching this. We'll check in with you at our tomorrow, might be 10 minutes for you, might be probably less than 10 minutes for you. See you in a couple of seconds, but for us it'll be a long, well-earned sleep away. See ya. Day on the river today. We've got 15 or 16 kilometers of upriver, upstream paddling against a pretty strong current. So we know we're in for a fight today. Our backs are good. We're going to do our calisthenics and our stretches, and you're going to be along for the ride, and you're going to see how well we do. And we'll check in with you a bit later. But wish us luck. Okay, well, we're at the first portage. We're maybe 200 meters past the Love Nest, and we found, I don't know why you wanted to call it that, we found the first takeout, which is about 3 or 4 feet underwater, making it extremely difficult to find the takeout, but we managed to find it, and there are some yellow flags, but I'll show you what the portage trail looks like. So you can see a yellow flag up there in the distance. Hopefully you can see that. It was hard enough for me to find it. But this is what the portage trail looks like. There's a yellow flag seemingly in the middle of the bush. And there's another one up there, also in the middle of the bush. So Cher and I are going to have, depending how long this portage is, we're going to have a couple of hours of just clearing a trail so that we can actually get these packs and this canoe through. So wish us luck, friends. We will see you in a while. Looks like we found logjam number 1 here on the West Aubinadong, but we might be able to sneak around it to the left. Might just have to limit a little bit. We were able to just sneak past it. Sherry was awesome at it, so we're good. Day is going super well. Sunshine on and off, headwinds on and off, mergansers and other ducks just everywhere. Buffleheads, a couple of mallards even. Just everywhere. So things are going great so far. Only that one portage, and I'm going to say we're over a third of the way in, maybe almost half of the way in. So we're doing all right here, gang. So we made it around that pretty ugly little section there. There's a nice little portage through, and the portage seemed to keep going for high water, but the access here isn't so bad. Access is all right. Sure. Trouble is there's a damn log jam like 100 meters, not even 80 meters up the river that we're gonna have to try to MacGyver something. We tried to bushwhack through here more to try to get around that, but it gets really, really nasty. It's really nice in here. It's mossy. It's pretty open. It's not that. Only about 200 feet that way. So we're going to see what we can do on this log jam. So Sherry and I got through that log jam. We kind of worked our way through the alders without even having to get out of the boat. That was primo. And then just shortly around the corner, shortly after that, we noticed at the top of a a set of sweepers and a rapid that we had to paddle our butts off to get up. The water's really moving here, folks, but we actually ran into Sherry saw a food barrel off in some of the alders, just sort of floating there, stuck in the current and stuck in the alders. So we naturally, our instinct was to head over and check it out. So we did check it out, and whoever lost it, it's got a lot of nice gear on it. So hopefully you can find it. We're about 10K up the West Aubinadong north, and we're just about to hit a portage, we think. So this is probably the portage that whoever's barrel this is probably should have took this portage and didn't. They ended up maybe dumping, and maybe 500 meters downstream we found your barrel, and it's got a lot of cool stuff on it. Nice aluminum saw, Nalgene, beautiful little coffee cup, has a big tarp in a stuff sack. We didn't think to open the barrel, the food barrel, because we don't know how long it's been there, so we didn't even want to chance it. But the coolest part about this, and you guys will find this really neat, is it's signed by Les Stroud, the survivor man, and I'm not sure if everybody who's watching this knows who this is. Anyway, Les is a Canadian sort of survival icon, and also a musician as well. But so I'm sure that this isn't Les's barrel, because his whole idea is that he goes out into the wilderness without food, and he's got to forage and trap and stuff like that. So I'm sure that this isn't Les's, but whoever this was met Les somewhere, and he signed this barrel. So this barrel probably means something to whoever lost it in the West Aubinadong River. So we left it here. It's about 100 meters down from this portage and about 500 meters up from where we found it. We hope that you guys are safe, whoever lost it, and we hope that you're able to find this little, it's just on the shore underneath a black spruce. We tried to bring it with us, but it's so heavy and it's so full of water that trying to canoe with this thing is darn near impossible. If you take a look at how quick that current's going, and we're going upstream. So we were just having a heck of a time. So hopefully you find your stuff. I'm sure if you dump and you lose a memento like that, you're probably planning on coming down and looking for the barrel this year. So here it is. It's on the shore. Don't look in the river. It's on the shore. And by the time you get here, it's probably 4 feet up the shore. Good luck. We just finished up a beautiful little portage that we had to kind of break trail for. And we're on a little campsite at the top of a rapid. And just finishing up, we're going to head back out again. Just wanted to share with you that you want to always make sure your fire is out before you leave your campsite. And this is a good way to make sure. I'm pretty sure that's doused. No forest fires here. Okay, so new development. Sharon and I saw this rope down, I don't know if you can see it in the water, it's appropriately long lining rope down the, when we were paddling up just past this put in, and yeah, there's a canoe bent around a cedar. So I think we found out where the barrel came from, and this stretch of rapid is like really, really high, really, really fast, and it's no wonder these dudes ran into some trouble. I hope everyone's okay. Anyway, we're gonna go scout out for a portage because we're not able to actually paddle up this. So we're looking for a port. Hey everyone, so Jay and Sherry here. We're on portage number 10 for the day, maybe 10 for the day. And the trouble with the portages is you got to find them, and they've been really hard to find because the water's so high. So the entries, the takeouts are all buried underwater. So it's been really challenging that way. Never mind, you're just fighting a current. And for those who aren't sure, like, it's the West Aubinadong. How much current could there be? I've been on the river. It's just a lazy little river. I just want to show you what kind of water volume is coming through this river right now. So to know why, I just finished a portage in like 3 feet of water. So this is the amount of water coming through this river. That's the little lazy West Aubinadong River right now. That's what we're dealing with, gang. So it was more than we thought it would be when we started the day. And we were like, oh yeah, it's, what is it, 15, 16 kilometers? Should be no problem. It's a bit of a problem. We're not going to not make it, but it's going to take us longer than we hoped for and expected. So, for those of you, if there's anybody waiting for us right now on Megisan Lake, you might be waiting one more night. But we might still make it. We have no idea where we are really, because the maps don't really check out, because they were all like satellite images taken when there was low water, so the river doesn't even look the same. But we are having a ton of fun, type 2 fun. So not only is there a logjam on that, like there, there's also just logjam here, and there's a log even at the put-in, so you can't even put anything in. Can't put in over here because there's a torrent running across this way, and then another log and another logjam. So our only thing that we are going to try to do is cut through this dead tree to try to, and then those alive trees to try to sneak this way into surely another logjam, and then we hear another falls within earshot just past us, so we've got a lot more time to do this. So yeah, we're getting our money's worth for sure. Second and third logjam were not as easy as the first one. We actually had to wrangle around and cut things, push things around and get out of the canoe. We got through it though, and we're swift. We didn't get too many dings on her, but we're through. Hopefully the last logjams of the day. It's a fat chance on that, but we'll see.
Famous last words.
There's a huge falls on the West Aubinadong just south of Torrance Lake. It goes way down. And I'm just walking back to grab the canoe. Progress on the day of rest here on Torrance Lake. Windy Torrance Lake. Is it ever breezy? Glad we're not paddling, because we're paddling that way, which is against the wind tomorrow, which is like north. We're going northeast, so of course that's exactly where the wind's coming from. But just giving you some progress. It's been on and off raining and on and off sunny, but always windy. Right now it's sunny, so we're getting some stuff done. We got the tarp up, and Cher's just doing some journaling. We've got some breakfast in us, and it's probably around noon now, and I found a mother lode of standing dead maple, which actually had been cut by some ding-dong who's cutting a road a four-wheeler trail back behind this beautiful campsite. But we benefited because they just threw all this beautiful wood off to the side of the trail that they made. So we've got a lot of little sticks here that I've already cut up right there, and some maple that I've got to process. I'll show you a little bit of that, just so that you see that we're not just lazing around and reading and drinking wine. We're doing some work here as well. Okay, we are relaxing. We are in full relax mode. It's still breezy, but it's been sunny for a couple of hours now. Cher's here, having a little read and a relaxation in the sun. I, as you can probably tell by the tone of my skin, don't do well for too long in the sun. So I've been processing firewood, and that right there, friends, probably no one but Sherry knows this about me, but that right there is one of my favorite things in the entire universe. It's a beautifully dried pile of beautiful hard maple that's small and fits into this little fire pit. There's a bunch of sticks there, mixed like spruce boughs and balsam fir, and it's just really, really dry and real hard. So those will be nice to keep the fire going. But this is all we need, and probably more than we need, for the whole evening of fires. And I've even been able to leave some over here leaned up against this jack pine so that it doesn't rot laying on the ground for the next people that come through. And just in passing, jack pine, for those of you who don't know jack pine, this one here's lost its top, but it's still got some fresh needles on it. But jack pine are very, very abundant through here, and this is the most jack pine I've seen up on the north end of the West Aubinadong. Just such a gorgeous and rugged looking tree, and super, super neat. I did a little video of the cones of a jack pine. They don't open unless they come in contact with fire. Fire is what ends up opening up their cones to release their seeds, and I did a video on that, so you know that they're super, super cool trees if it needs fire to procreate. Like, come on. You are a badass, and I thank you.
Hi guys, so day 4, we just kind of hung around camp today, but now we just rehydrated some chili with rice and some cheese, and just sitting down to have some dinner and watch the sun on the lake, or on the river.
What's the lake? It's a lake now. We've finally gone through the river.
Yeah, we're glad we took a day of rest and enjoyed some sunshine and dried out our gear, and ready to be getting back on the canoe tomorrow.
There goes a merganser, just like that. Just as we start the video, we're bombed, dive bombed by a merganser. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the evening of day 4. Is that right? And we've just had Sherry's just finishing up her sleepy time tea. I just had my sleepy time tea, and you know what that means. It's sleepy time. So it's going to be a cold one tonight. So we're going to bundle up and snuggle down. And we have a very mild day tomorrow on paper. Let me preface with saying we don't know what mild days are ahead or hard ones are ahead. But hoping that tomorrow's a mild day, we're just going to lake hop over to Prairie Grass Lake to get ready for day 6 on the Nushatogaini River. And the lake this is as calm as it's been the entire trip. And we're just feeling so blessed that we've got this to enjoy once again before we head to sleep and freeze our tukuses off, because it's supposed to get down to about 0 degrees centigrade tonight. So that's freezing for our American friends. That is where the point at which water freezes from its liquid form to a solid. So we're hoping not to freeze like that. We're hoping to stay relatively liquid. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the morning, most likely. Bye. Good morning, friends. Morning of day 5, and couldn't ask for a better day of weather so far. It's just, we've been so lucky with beautiful weather, and we slept pretty well. We're just packing up. We took a little bit of time this morning to pack up. We had 2 coffees. How decadent. And we're just packing up. We've doused the fire, left some fire for the next lucky folks who run into this absolutely gorgeous campsite. And we just have a couple more things to go, and then we're going to be loading in. Our plan today is to make it down to the headwaters of the Nushatogaini River and Prairie Grass Lake to camp out. So not a very long day. Looks like only 4 portages, and we're hoping that they're not too bad, not too rugged. But we've got our saws to cut us through if we need to. We've still been, again, I just cannot count the ways in which we've been so lucky on this trip. But the bugs, there's a few mosquitoes here and there, but like you get beautiful, warm, sunny days like this, and there's no black flies murdering your face off. And that's super lucky. It got down to about 0 this morning. There was some frost on the canoe when I woke up, but we were snug as bugs and rugs. No big deal. Anyway, we're going to shove off and hopefully get a chance to show you a bit of the paddling journey it's very short, over to the portage to Megisan Lake. What do you think, Cher? Ready to do this?
Yeah.
Do this to this? Such a gorgeous, gorgeous sight. It's too bad that it's allowed to just kind of fall apart into this disrepair. There's presumably the lodge itself. This doesn't actually look to be in too bad a shape. I wouldn't want to have to be the guy restoring it, but let's check it out. Alrighty. These are good shoes. You could play some hoops in those shoes, man. That's a creepy noise. Shoot some stick. There still looks to be usable cues there. Orlando Corporation must have been the previous owner, most recent owner. They're apparently good at hockey. So they got some trophies. Playoff champions, 1990, does that say? Megisan Lake Flyers. Division C. That is funny. So they had they sponsored a hockey team. Division C, though, I mean. Somebody's unfinished trout sculpture there. Cute little chair. A fair bit of, seems to be rodent poop. Couple fresh cold carlings. Beautiful little stove. Looks to be in good shape too. I don't want to backpack that out of here. Old Brutus. It's enough for me. Ain't that the creepiest looking thing you ever did saw? Jeezy Josie. Poor little beaver. Terrifying. That's nightmare fuel right there. There's Swedish pancakes. Look at it. Yeah. Bottle of CC. Sure it's empty, so we're not even going to check. Tons of magazines. Lots of readers came through here, obviously. Tons of plates. Wash hands before handling Buster the beaver with botulism. Cooking oil. Perfectly good pans. This is a humongous stove. Jeezy Josie. Flat of Budweiser over there. Fridge. Obviously propane fridge. Did they leave us some buds? Negative. Negative on the buds. What fresh hell is back here? Looks like the maybe the outhouse or servants' quarters. Big old poplar. Well, this is pretty nifty-tifty, if you ask me. Hey, Cher, what do you think about this place?
Yeah.
Fixer-upper, handyman's paradise, as they say.
Yeah. Wooden chairs are pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this was probably a really cool spot to be in its heyday. I'm going to say right around 1990 when they were winning all the dang championships. They made a name for themselves in the hockey world, as well as the fly-in fishing lodge world. Well, that there is the Megisan Lake Lodge. I've actually been wanting to see this for years. And now we've all seen it. Hope you appreciate it. So it took us a little bit of doing to find the portage takeout here at the end of Megisan, but we found it. We found this little sleepy guy. Cher almost bopped him on the head by accident with the paddle when we were getting out. But yeah, we found the portage, and here's Kermit. He's just waking up. So here's our portage. Cher's all ready. She's all packed up like a very beautiful mule. And but you try all day to try to keep your feet wet. You don't really go out of your way too much, but try to keep your feet from getting wet. And looks like we're gonna get our feet wet right away here. So second portage of the day, heading into what I don't have a name for this lake. Didn't show up on my map, so nameless lake from Megisan. But here we go, getting our feet wet. Yay! So we're on this unnamed lake. That portage was a tough one, and there's two boats that are stored right in the way on the portage. That was nice. But this is a pretty little lake. We're not going to be here long because there's where we're going, maybe 5 minutes, but such a gorgeous little spot. And that was a tough one. There's a couple of really big blowdowns there that single carry was like, that was a tough thing with the pack and the canoe. Maneuvering through all the branches. How you feel, Cher?
I'm good.
Nice. You look good. There's campsites on the next lake, so we could stop for lunch if you want. Sweet. See you soon. Ooh. Oh, so the portage between the two unnamed lakes starts off straight up the side of a hill, and we're single carrying this one because it's a bit of a longer one, so we want to minimize the footsteps. Holy, that was a good one to double carry. Straight uphill for the first 500 meters. We've leveled off now. I'm going to take a bit of a rest. Here's Cher, looking strong as ever. Also, another fun fact, just as we were getting the packs on our backs and the canoe on our heads, we saw a float plane fly into Megisan, one lake away. And so we're glad we're off, because I'm sure with that comes motorboats and fireworks and all the fun things. So we're headed to Prairie Grass we have this portage and one more lake, and then another portage of similar length, hopefully not as hard. And then we're on Prairie Grass, and that'll be our home for the night before we start the Nush tomorrow. So just resting up here, and yeah, I don't wish that on too many of my enemies. Okay, so we made it to this other unnamed lake. This portage was a real humdinger, but we seem to have dropped the map along the way, and it's probably a little ways back, so I'm going to hopefully not go all the way friggin' back, but take you through and just kind of show you. There she is. Probably maybe a third of the way back. Not too bad, but it's kind of essential. You can't really mess around without it. But yeah, so this is the portage we just did from there up a friggin' mountain and then over to here. And we're now on that lake. Cher's at the port. You want to do a day at a spa after this? Okay. Something more relaxing. You can do whatever you want. So we're just starting the last portage of the day. Another canoe. There was a canoe at the put in here, and here at the takeout there's an aluminum canoe and a boat. So there's actually plenty of people. That'll do it right there. So it is the Airedale Flying Services. So these are, I'm sure guides have these set up here for when they do fly-in fishing guided tours. So we're headed that way. We're hoping that it's pretty flat and even downhill a little bit. And yeah, one more portage and we're on Prairie Grass Lake. and we can relax for the afternoon. Hey friends, back with Sherry and Jay on our adventure. We found, so we're here on Prairie Grass Lake, which was our destination for the day. Trouble is, there are 0 campsites, or at least, let me rephrase that. There are 0 good campsites on Prairie Grass Lake at all. There's 2 Airedale / Ontario Wilderness Adventure something or other. Very much private property, and they're not shy about signage everywhere about that. Don't be here, you grubby granola canoeing backpackists. So we kind of made our way down to the end of the lake. There was a noted one on the map, and I think this is it. But it's teeny tiny, and it's not super great. Not great water access, not great bush access to get wood or anything like that. But it is home for tonight. It's good. Cher is going to make it a home. I'll lug all the rest of the gear up, and we'll get her all set up, and we'll be back at you once we're settled in. So we are about to eat dinner here, day 5. Dinner time, day 5, Prairie Grass Lake, the smallest, quaintest little campsite you ever did see. And we've learned a lesson. We learned this lesson before, but we learned it again tonight. But it's not like it's a hard lesson to learn. So when you make pasta and red sauce, right, tomato sauce, it looks eerily similar when it goes and you dehydrate it and it comes out of the freezer to butter chicken. And we're having tonight butter chicken pasta with cheddar cheese. By accident, but it's a happy accident, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we call the mix and match dehydration rehydration method by Sherry Tuck, and we're digging it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is not late, but it is bedtime. It is so much bedtime that we didn't even have sleepy time tea. We just finished dinner, had a drink, watched a beaver, learned what a northern water thrush sounds like, which apparently are rare, and they're here on Prairie Grass Lake. And we're going to brush our teeth and hit the hay. Just wanted to say good night. And tomorrow we've got a pretty big day of a swollen and angry river. The Nushatogaini is going to be a challenge for us. We've got at least 10 portages that we've seen noted on trip reports, and very pushy river. So we're ready for it. We're tense and ready for it. What do you think, babe?
I think we could do it.
I know we can do it. I know we have to do it. My gosh, I've got bills to pay. I can't be stuck out here.
Hopefully the weather stays as awesome as it has been for our trip. It's been awesome.
It has been. I mean, right
and
now,
no bugs.
And still no bugs.
Still
But
no
right
bugs.
now it's kind of gray and caca pee pee poo poo. But it's like whatever. We're going to bed. Let it be. When it's cool at night, it makes us more snuggly, and it just keeps us more sleepy. So it's good. Any predictions for tomorrow? So my prediction, I would like to get all the way through the river and get all the way to Gong lake tomorrow if the gods are smiling upon us. And there's that's the northern water thrush, by the way, everyone. That would be my hope. I'd say prediction, but we have up to 2 days that we can spend on this river if we can find campsites. The trouble with this route is finding campsites that'll fit a tent. But I think we can do it.
Hopefully we'll be okay. We had a little surprises coming up the other river with the high water, so I'm a little nervous going down, but hopefully we'll be okay and we'll find the portages and we'll get down safe.
That's the
and
big
we'll
key.
See you at the end.
We sure will. Okay, good night, everyone. Good morning, friends. Morning of day 6?
Day 6.
Day 6. And we are still alive, somehow, no matter how hard I try. I was just about to fire up the video camera this morning, and I had a pot just right on the edge of boiling for our second coffee and some oatmeal. And I leaned down, and my knee hit the darn handle, tipped the whole thing over, so we had to reboil. And dry wood is a little bit tougher to come by this morning because it rained all night last night, and it's still kind of drizzling this morning. As you can see, it's kind of a gray caca day, and we're really hoping that changes. And I'm confident, reasonably confident, given the weather over the past week, that this will break up and we'll get some sunshine. But it's pretty cold. It got down to about probably 5 degrees and rain all night. So we're shivering, and we're hoping that it improves. But we have a day of river travel, down river travel, which is nice, downstream, so we won't have to paddle so hard, mostly just steer and stay away from sweepers and strainers and rocks and rapids as best we can, because our little canoe is mostly made for flat water. It doesn't have much of a rocker to it. It's called the Algonquin style. David Yost designed it, and it's more of a flat water boat, so we're just going to avoid rapids as much as we can once we get going, but we're not going to move until it starts to clear up a little bit. So we might read a little bit in the tent and eat and drink coffee and be merry. Share what was your favorite part about yesterday. Putting you on the spot here. Sorry, Don.
Watching the plane fly in.
Oh, yeah.
To Megisan.
To Megisan, yeah. Yeah, that was kind of neat. Yeah, I mean, you could see it. You could almost see the nostril hairs on the pilot. That's how close they came buzzing in over our heads when we were on Clove Lake, and they came in and went into Megisan. So we're not sure exactly what they dropped off there, but I imagine it probably has something to do with Ontario Wilderness Vacations, because they basically dominate all the area up in these 4 lakes, Megisan, Clove, Unnamed, and Prairie. Every portage is choked with their boats, and they've got a couple of cabins here. There's another cabin downriver as well that might be that company as well. I'm not sure. We'll find out hopefully later today. Okay, we'll check in soon, gang. Stay warm, stay dry. That's what we're going to be doing. Getting a fire started when everything around you is soaking wet is difficult but not impossible. With the use of the lower branches of spruce trees are especially good, and balsam fir, because they've got a lot of little tendrils that go out, whereas cedar don't, but all the branches on the bottom are all usually dead, and they sit underneath the leaves, which keeps them dry in a rain. So if you can break those off, you can even get wet wood to burn if you layer it right. And this is going to warm up our bones enough to hopefully allow us to make some progress travel-wise today. And we've got a pair of loons who don't seem to be at all shy of us, which is really, really nice. I think it's a good omen for our travels today, even though it is just still slightly drizzling. These two here are happy to have us around, and we're happy to have them around. Just about ready to get on the road. All right, second portage of the day done. We got on the water a bit late. We were just kind of waiting out the weather, but we got on the water about 10. It's about quarter to 11 now. We're 2 portages in of what we expect to be 11 if our trip reports are accurate. And yeah, so according to one trip report, now that we've done these 2 ports, we should now officially be in the headwaters of the Nushatogaini. So it's going to be river travel from here. Basically, we're not going to risk anything. We're going to just, if there's a portage, we're going to take it. If we hear fast running water, we're going to be looking for a portage until we find one. And we're just not going to take any chances. We've got lots of time. And check out this beautiful white pine at the port. Here we are at the end of portage number 3. At least we hope it's the end of portage number 3, because we don't want to get on the river early and realize we should still be portaging, but it doesn't look like there's any more viable portage trail. So we think this is it. It was just a little short hop, skip, and a jump. And we're moving on, gang. The sun is trying to poke out. It's still pretty cool out. But the day is good. Start of portage number 4. It's pretty skinny here, even in such high water, so I can't even imagine how bony this is in summertime. I'm not sure how long it is, but it's well marked portage, so this is good. Portage number 4 of the day, babe. What do you think? All right.
Going down.
Darn tooting. So right at the end of portage number 4, back there, Sherry's just scouting out the takeout or the put in, just to make sure we're not putting ourselves into danger. And I'm just walking back for the canoe. And I don't know, those of you who know me know I don't love like roads in the middle of, you know, the wilderness and whatnot. And I certainly don't love to see old culverts in there. And obviously, I'm not alone. Somebody else doesn't like seeing that as well. Port number 4 done. Got a nice little calm spot there Sherry found for us. The place I put in for us kind of was a fast current there, which just wasn't great, but she found an awesome spot. But this is exhibit A as to why I don't like culverts in the backcountry, because it allows in vehicles. When you allow in vehicles to the backcountry, you allow in people who do this crap. Fail. Unsubscribe to that. Just looking for portage number 5 and ran into this. A really fresh bear scat. So portage number 5 is proving to be a little bit difficult to find, and by difficult I mean impossible. We have trudged through both sides of the river trying to find any semblance of a trail, all the way from the riverside all the way in about 100 yards, and there is nothing on either side of the river. So I'm not sure why, but we're just gonna have to bushwhack a portage through these alders. It's not too thick, against the riverbank. So I think we'll just do that. We'll just bushwhack, carrying the packs, make sure we clear a trail that's wide enough for the canoe, and that's what we're up against. Good time. That was interesting, folks. So in our bushwhack through on this portage, I found this sort of seam that seemed like it would be an easier walk through, and then Sherry off of that found what seemed to actually be the historic trail. Hasn't been used in years, and there's tons of blowdown on it, which makes the trail disappear. So we bushwhacked through and kind of re-broke the trail, and then actually flagged it with what little flagging tape we have left. So hopefully somebody else doesn't have that big of an issue coming through here again. So that was a waste of about an hour and a half. It's now 3 p.m. Hopefully, well, geez, the rest of them can't go like that because we won't get out of here till July. So, and we only have till Sunday. So onward and upward, gang. But we're doing well. The weather is kind of holding out. It's not sunny at all, but it's also not raining on us. So progress of a kind. We're going to head our way downstream and hopefully not hit any more of those crappy portages. Here we are at the takeout, portage number 6. The last few rapids we ran, they were mostly just swifts at this point because the water is so high. So that was easy. But these ones are proper class 2, class 3 rapids, and we're not taking any chances. So, but the problem is most people either line up or down these in low water. So the takeout is almost non-existent. As you can see, there's nothing saying, and the trail goes that way, but there's no trail. But I ended up walking along the riverbank, and I ended up seeing the triangle, the telltale triangle wooden sign, decrepit as it is, down at the bottom of the falls here, and we're going to carry over to that. It's still kind of a sketchy put in because the water is pretty quick there, but we'll do it. At least it didn't take us an hour to find this. So port number 6, I think, of the day. So we're here at the put-in on Port 6. And yeah, that was a bit of a bushwhack. I spent about 15 minutes on the way back just clearing out the bigger downfall, and it kind of resembles a trail now. But how do you say portage without saying the word portage? Yeah, that's not how we camp. Howdy friends. So we had ourselves a time. Portage number 6 was a bit of a bushwhack. We got around it, and then basically immediately after we hit a couple of small rapids, and then around a corner.
With no takeouts.
No takeouts, and it was just basically as soon as you rounded the corner, the rapids started, and it was this. So we made it through unscathed. We did not want to do that at all, but we did take on a bit of water. Some of the haystacks came up. We had this very shallow bow and stern with no rocker, so any of those haystacks just come right up over the edge of the over the gunnels, soaked for a share, filled up our canoe almost halfway. So we limped to shore here, knocked off a couple of rocks, but it looks like our Kevlar is no worse for the wear. But we're a little bit humbled and a little bit wet, but we're going to finish lining this set of rapids here and find the first available campsite. It's getting late, and it's starting to get nice, so we're hoping to be able to dry off with a fire and creekside camp. So yeah, we'll see you shortly, probably after another portage or two, but we'll check in. So almost immediately after that rapid, now we have impassable logjam. So we're going over the side. And then right after this, we have a pair of spruce sweepers that we got to navigate as well. Good times. Okay, so we've got to figure out how we're going to get by this. So you're going to slow down, babe. Okay, so when you hear logjam, does that come to your mind? Mine too. How about that? Yeah, that too. Still more. You've got to be joking. More. And I don't know where it ends. Just at the end of the day, perfect timing. We just want to camp. I wanted to show y'all what kind of an absolute nightmare it was. We've called an audible. Sharon and I have made a game time decision, last minute decision, and we're sleeping close by. But this looks like cleared. So delimbed all the bigger trees to be able to get the canoe through. I didn't take out all the alders. That would have taken me until August. So I just took out the big ones that were going to impede our progress. Again, I only took off the dead limbs of these coniferous trees here just to make way for the canoe. There was a bit of a path here made by the beavers of the area, of which there seem to be many. But this nightmare continues. So again, limbed that tree to get around it, and here we are in the midst of the biggest logjam I've ever seen. So it starts here modestly. We were like, okay, maybe we can get under the one side. And then we looked around the corner, and it was just like our hearts sank. I don't even know what time it is, but it's getting later. It's probably about 7 or something like that. And as you can see, it still goes. So still on the trail. Limbed that tree to get rid of, but as you can see, it still goes. We were going to try to knock one through that side, just from one side to the other, but It is so choked with alders. You couldn't even move in there, so that wasn't happening. Anyway, so here through again, starts to get a little muddy. This is obviously recently when the ice went out and all the ice kind of piled up here and backlogged all the water. It got a little mucky in here. So I've already had my boots sucked almost off twice in this area. But here we found a nice little surprise. It is a logging road. Again, a blessing and a curse. Today it's a blessing, as this is where we're going to be camping, is on this road. And it looks like, if you notice up there, there's a little fire pit. Someone has also done that last year at some point. But we're going to regroup. This is definitely not in the plans. So we're going to regroup and we're going to figure out, maybe we continue along in portage on the road until the river meets it again and it's not jammed up. Or maybe we just try to find a route down there in past the log jam that might be a little bit better suited to our needs. Regardless, this is where we are for the night. All right, gang. Now you're caught up. All right, gang. So, Sherry got the homestead set up. I finally got the canoe in. We've got some wood gathered. It's actually surprisingly little decent wood on this road. But we're just getting ready. I was going to turn around. Just getting ready to cook some dinner. Got the tarp up over top of the tent. We got pretty soaked last night and we felt like we didn't want to have that happen again. Yeah, I got a little tiny wee fire pit in the middle of a road. That's what you do on the Nushatogaini when you have a 300 meter long, at least, log jam. So we're going to get dinner fired up and then we'll be back at you to give you some of our highlights of the day.
Oh.
Cheers. Good morning, campers. Day 7, Friday the 20th. Apparently, that's what my phone just said when I turned it on. We don't really have concept of days or dates or anything like that, but we know it's day 7. And per the usual, not an uneventful night. There were absolutely torrential rainfall. Basically, as soon as we went to sleep, right till about 5:30 this morning. You can see there's one dry spot. That's where we had the tarp, because it didn't rain too sideways, but you can see that the landscape was even changed with all the rain that we had. And it actually ripped our poor tarp. It built up. We heard the ropes against the trees with the rain pelting on it. They were sliding down because they're birch trees and there's nothing for them to really, the ropes can't grab anything because they're smooth. So yeah, so that was fun. Ripped our tarp. We only have one more night with it before we can get home and repair it. But anyway, we've got a lot of interesting stuff still left, I'm sure. Stick with us, gang. Day 7 up to come. So friends, this is the road where we camped on, down about 150 meters through toward the west. And it's pretty, as you can see, it's rather choked up, but still navigable with a canoe. And look at what happens. Oh, this is the river takes another bend right here toward the river. It looks like someone else has used this as a takeout / put in. And that is a massive, massive bear poop. Holy jumping. A couple of days old, so we're safe. But there you go. There's our ticket back into forward progress, gang. Hopefully this is the last. There's still log jam over there. So even getting around that original one, we would have had more to do. Hopefully that's the last of it here and we can actually move on. I am stoked. 420, bro. Just kidding. We don't do that. Okay, everyone, we were maybe 150 meters into the paddle, and we have portage number 7 or 8. I want to say portage number 8. It was pretty pushy with all the extra water from the deluge last night. It was really, really pushy, so we didn't want to risk it. There were a couple of rocks that the water was just flowing right over, and we just didn't want to risk it. So once again, the logging road came in handy. We used that to get here. It was a really steep put in, but we managed. Yeah, so onward and upward. Yikers. Okay, we just did, I don't even want to count the log jams, but like, so portage like 10 around log jam, impassable log jam. We've done about 8 log jams that we passed over, but this is like impassable log jam number 3. And that was a tough slog, but we did it. We went through that. It looks like, judging by mud footprints, it looks like we've had a visitor here in the last couple of weeks actually, who went through but didn't take out very many trees or alders or anything to get their canoe through. So I don't know if maybe they just dragged their canoe through. They didn't need anything overhead taken out. But anyway, we made it through. We muscled through it, back on the river again. And we're hoping there's not too many more, if any more of those darn things. It's starting to get a little old, if I'm going to be honest with you. So we're on the river right, and there's no way to pass over it. So we have to go to river left, but the banks are really high, so we're gonna have to go hopefully over there before those alders, and we're gonna have to scramble up that bank because it looks not too bad up there, and then there's only a little patch here of alders to pass before we're back in the river. So wish us luck. I hate log jams. Yet another log jam portaged around. And then we have the put in, and then there's another log jam right there available. And that put in is created by us. There was no portage. I just cut a trail through there. It took about half hour or so. This log jam here, from a little bit of scouting, looks like we should be able to make our way through it. Right, so it's started to rain. There's thunder in the distance. We're hoping that it stays north of us, but we're getting rained on. But this here is the confluence of the West Aubinadong here, and we are just coming off of the Nushatogaini. We're going to head down to Gong Creek as the rain supremely intensifies, and we conquered both rivers. Now we're trying to find shelter. Yeah! Sharon and I just finished the remarkably tough portage from basically one side of Gong Creek over the falls to the other side, the calm side of Gong Creek. And yeah, I remember it being tough, and I remember thinking, oh, this isn't going to be so bad when we have less weight. No, it was just as bad. That's a tough portage. And
our bags are wet.
Everything's
We're
wet. We just got rained on for the last hour, and if you can hear, that's actually pretty loud rolling thunder that we don't want. I feel like we should just wait it out here.
I think so too.
I don't think we should get on the water. No, I don't think so. Well, we'll try. We'll try to put the tarp up and just kind of wait it out here a little bit.
Loud.
The trouble is, if we stop moving, I'm going to get hypothermic, so we have to be pretty careful about all that. But I'll maybe just do some push-ups or something. Anyway, we're about 3 portages away from Island Lake, which is where we plan to spend the evening, our last evening on this trip. And Sherry, you said you saw something.
Something jumped out of a tree and ran. I don't know.
Pretty
I didn't
quickly.
see what
It was tough to see what it was.
Yeah, but
I'm hoping it was just a raccoon or something. Or maybe like a little bush person. So I think Sherry thought this was a photo.
Oh, I thought it was.
It isn't. So we're just kind of hunkered underneath this big beautiful cedar to try to stay a little bit dry. Because here we are. So it's about 2 p.m. So that's about 4 hours after we left. A little bit under 4 hours after we left our camp in the Nush. I don't know what it is with this place, but it does not want us to leave, I think.
It's like the Hotel California.
Exactly. No matter how hard we're like, wow, we don't care. I don't care if it's raining. We're going to make it through. A little bit of thunder doesn't really bother me as long as it's off in the distance and I'm not seeing lightning. And they know, like, so the place knows the only thing that's going to stop us is seeing lightning. Well, here you go. So this is stopping us from making progress. We're so close. We're like 3 portages from camp tonight, and then 2 portages then from the car. One of those portages is 3 kilometers long, but we're so close, and nature does not want us to get there. It wants to hold us here. And that's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. We can get through it. We'll just sit here under this cedar until the lightning stops. Try not to be hypothermic. Hypothermic. Whoops. All right. Update. So we kind of ran ahead there. We were racing against time and racing against lightning and all those fun things. I don't remember when we last checked in, but I think it was just as we hunkered down at Gong Creek. And yeah, so we hunkered down for about an hour, and then we booted it as fast as I think anyone has ever gone across Gong Creek to the portage into Gong Lake. We hooped it there. We saw a really cool snapping turtle that we normally would stop and take photos of and video and bother inordinately, but we decided not to because it was raining on us, but we were trying to beat the lightning. So we got out here to Gong Lake, and we hightailed it as fast as we could to the nearest campsite, passing along the way a beautiful little cabin on the way, and it was lightning out, and we were just getting torrential rains and wind, and it was just the worst possible time. And then we get to this campsite and someone's already on it. So we had to turn around, and in order, like literally our only safe thing to do was to actually come back to this cabin that is currently unoccupied and just sit on their deck and wait out the rain and thunder and try to dry off and try to get some warm food in us just in order to warm up and get back to, and Sherry's betoning some wood for our little stick stove here. It keeps falling off the deck. But anyway, so we're here for now. We're just riding out the weather, and hopefully we can make it to another unoccupied campsite by the end of the day, and we'll be good to go. But boy, we're having fun, I'll tell you. morning, campers.
Morning.
What day is it today, Cher?
Day 8.
Day 8. And conceivably, if all goes well, our last day out in the backcountry wilderness of the Algoma headwaters. It was quite chilly last night, but when we got up in the middle of the night, it was clear as a bell. You could see stars forever. And then it was really cloudy and a bit breezy this morning when we got up, but it's starting to clear up. It's around 8 o'clock now, I would think, and we're just getting ready to shove off. We've got a short paddle to the portage, and if I recall yesterday, the portage here was actually a really nice one into Mystery Lake. I recall indicating that I'd do it for fun one day, and I'm doing it for fun today. So, and then another short paddle across Mystery Lake, and then the portage into Island, and then Island Lake, short paddle to the 3-kilometer doozy of a portage back into Samo. So that's what our agenda is, and then the little quick jump across into Ranger, and then probably a 40-minute paddle in the Ranger, and then change the tire on Trixie, and then limp our way back to civilization. So hopefully it's a good day today. Hopefully you guys are having a good day as well, and we will check in if anything goes terribly wrong. Okay, so Cher and I just practiced this ritual that we do just about every morning that we thought you might want to take part in. So this boot was, I wore all day yesterday, obviously. It's done me so well, but it's fallen apart. This trip has been murder on our boots. But this boot weighs about 3 pounds heavier than it normally does because it's still completely full of water because it rained all night from here and into the evening yesterday, so we didn't have an opportunity to dry them out. We couldn't make a fire or anything. So yeah, this boot is just completely soaking wet, and the favorite part of everyone's day is slipping your dry, warm foot, oh, there you go, into this wet boot, and then tying it on to your godforsaken foot for the rest of the day to just fester and slosh around. Look, you can even see the laces are still wet. So yeah, this is my favorite part of the day. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do this. Like anybody who says they don't want to do this is crazy, because this is how we camp. All set, friends. Portage number 1 complete, just as fun as I remembered it. What's that big?
Portage number 10?
I don't think so. I think probably more like 30 if we include all the other portages on the rivers. Anyway, it's a nice little portage. So we're going down to Island Lake now. Short little paddle, shouldn't take us too long. Being a tough portage. It was mostly uphill, obviously, coming the other way, but man, it is beautiful in here. And there's the most beautiful part coming right now. Hi, Dolly. It's pretty in here. It's really nice in the sun, hey?
Yeah. It's nice to have the sun back.
Yep. Even though it comes with a bit of wind. Hey friends, so we're just at the takeout from Island Lake to start this fun It's all about mindset. This fun 3-kilometer portage into Samo. And we actually just ran into a fella who was camped out just on that island over there from Atlanta, Georgia. And he had made it in last night. Apparently he made it to the lake just in time. But then while he was setting up, he got a little bit wet with that rain that, well, as you guys know, we got absolutely soaked and frightened by the lightning. But yeah, so he's up and he's planning to get up to Megisan via the West Aubinadong as well. So we told him about the love nest. We didn't call it that because that would be weird. So we just told him about the one nice campsite on the entire Aubinadong River, and told him about being careful on the pushy water. Seemed like a really nice guy. So we're going to do this portage, and I don't think we're going to bother you too much with video because you've already seen a lot of it, and it's going to be boring for you the second time through, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be boring for us too. Not really. Okay, cool. See you in a bit. I promised I wouldn't bore you with the particulars of the portage, but it was smooth. We only stopped for about maybe 60 seconds to rest our shoulders there, and here we are. That was a lot easier on the way back with half as much food and no booze. So now we've got a, hopefully, it looks like a cross tailwind coming across Samo. And we're going to meander our way through this sort of boggy section, hopefully get some photos of some mergansers that we missed last time because we were so darn loud. Anyway, only one more port to go, and it's basically a cakewalk. So we'll see you at the other end of Samo, or before if something cool happens on the way. There's the takeout toward Ranger Lake, finally at the end of Samo Lake. That was a long paddle. Hey, Cher? Goodness gracious. Much of it with a headwind, a lot of it with the side wind, and then this last little bit with a nice tailwind that we really, really appreciate. So yeah, we're going to take out here, final tiny wee little portage, and then we're changing tires and driving home. Oh, yep. Oh, there's a merganser. Didn't even notice her sitting in here. Hey gang, okay, we made it back as much as Ranger didn't want us to. We were almost windbound there. We knew there'd be a chop coming up from the south end, but that was pretty intense. We had a couple of 2-foot waves anyways, so it was right on the edge of where we wouldn't have felt comfortable anymore. I got a little snippet of video, but it's not going to be very good, but I'll show it to you. But yeah, Cher was bouncing pretty good, but she did awesome. We did well. We're here. We are now stationary. We're off the water for a little while now. All we have to do is Operation Fix Trixie. She's got a flat tire that we knew about when we left, but now we've actually got to go ahead and change it. So, for those of you who stuck around, I'm sure this is actually going to be a series. It's not going to be one long video, but for those of you who stuck around to the very end and stayed with us and enjoyed us, please, I guess, give it a like and share with your friends. And from Sherry and Jay, now you guys know.
This is how we camp.
All right.